My DMD on my Judge Dredd stopped working. Not cool. Unacceptable. However, tonight's episode of Coast to Coast Pinball is going to be excellent. One for the record books. Let's go. Welcome to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It is a commentary. I'm a man out of quarters. How's everyone doing tonight? It's Monday, November 25th. It's the week of Thanksgiving. It's the night before my mom's birthday. And it's episode number 46 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Very special episode. I'm going to have a really short intro here because it's going to be a fairly long episode for our standards. We have an evening, an interview, a session with Ben Heckendorn, or as many know him as Ben Heck, the creator of what is now known as America's Most Haunted, which will be the first release built by Spooky Pinball LLC. I'm really looking forward to this interview. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll be back with another show later in the week. If I don't talk to you or at you, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the interview. I would like to welcome to Coast Pinball, Ben Heckendorn. If you don't know who Ben is, you either don't read pinball forums, you're not on the internet, or I have no help for you. But Ben, who, if you read his Wikipedia page, Ben has his own Wikipedia page, he's listed as an American console modder and internet celebrity. So thank you for coming on the show tonight, Ben.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've never actually read my own Wikipedia page,
it's
but
pretty great.
I'm sure it exists.
It does. It does. It also says Heckendorn is also an independent filmmaker. So,
oh yes,
you know, in reading about you, see, I knew you from the pinball side of things. I've been, following the exploits in Ghost Squad, now America's Most Haunted, and some of the stuff with J-Pop that we'll get to. But I sort of dove into you today as far as like the movie side of it, the console modding side of it. There's a lot there. You've been on the internet for a long time, sort of doing things. How did you sort of become such a quote internet celebrity?
Well, it was back in the year 2000. I was modding Atari 2600 consoles. And remember, this was a long time ago. This is before the make movement or any of that stuff started.
Yeah.
No one even knew what a 3D printer was. YouTube didn't even exist. Anyway, yeah, MSN dial-up. Anyway, so I made this cool Atari project because I liked Atari when I was a kid, but I never had one when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever. So years later, I got one and I hacked it up into a portable. Then I made a little GeoCities site where I talked about it. And then I mentioned it on a forum or a comment on a website. And that's kind of what started it all. Like everyone looked at it and whatnot. And then, I started getting all this email and I just couldn't believe that so many people cared about these old Atari systems. And that was, 13 years ago in September, yes. So I just continued. Well, I was a graphic artist at the time. I continued to mod things. Eventually, I started doing it for a living, and I still do it.
So your mods, basically the idea was you were taking home gaming consoles and building them into a portable on-the-go system of some sort, depending on the actual game system you were using.
Right. That's what I started doing. I don't do that a whole lot anymore. Sometimes I do it for a novelty, but that's what I started doing.
And those have been featured like all over the place, like big publications like Wired and Maxim and Popular Science, places like that.
Yes, that's correct. I've been in both Maxim and Popular Science. Achievement unlocked.
There you go. Nice. I was actually checking out one of your Xbox 360 mods where you basically turned it into a laptop so I could go play Call of Duty at Starbucks if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. You still need an external power supply.
Gotcha.
Yes. And I'm sure I'll do the same thing for the Xbox One and the PS4.
Well, they're smaller boxes too, aren't they? Won't that be easier?
Xbox One is pretty hefty.
Pretty
I haven't
big.
taken it apart yet, but we're going to do that in 2 weeks on the show, I think. Yes.
Well, that's actually the next thing I was going to say is you were doing a podcast, now you're doing an internet TV show called, and this is a crazy name for the show, I believe it's called The Ben Heck Show?
Yeah, I actually wanted to call it Circuit Breakers, but I was overruled.
You were overruled, yeah.
I was overruled, and it had... yeah, funny how that works, right?
And that's hosted at element14.com, is that right?
Yes, they're the sponsor.
Very cool.
Yeah, we used to do podcasts every other week, and we actually kept it going for quite a while. It was about video games and technology.
And now you leave this lowly audio stuff up to schleps like me.
No, I'd really like to get back into it. I miss it because when you do a show like we do, where it's about building things, it's more about accomplishing something. Whereas a podcast, it's more about opinion and discussion. So it has advantages that a video web series does not.
So what are some recent topics on the Ben Heck Show? What have you been covering lately?
Well, again, it's not about topics. It's about things that we build. So,
what have you built lately?
Just this last one. Well, we had to do a short episode this week. Wait. No, last week. Gosh, I'm confused. Last week, we did an anti-pickpocket wallet. This kid, or well, his dad, emailed me. He's like, hey, you live in Madison, Wisconsin, just like us. Can we come visit your shop? My kid thinks it'd be a great birthday present. And I'm like, sure. And then Julian was the kid's name. Not Jillian. I kept thinking of X-Files. Which was not a super good pinball machine.
Not great. Nor was CSI.
I hear CSI has its fans, but there didn't make very many of them, so I've only ever played it once, I think. Anyway, Julian, I almost said Jillian again. Mulder, we can't find these aliens. He had an idea. He's like, hey, you should build this wall that's not pickpocketers. And then I said to him, well, of course, rednecks just have the chain. But yeah, so then maybe we could build something. And like months and months later, we did an episode around it. And then Julian and his dad came back on Saturday, and we filmed. So like the payoff was Julian tried to pickpocket his dad with the wallet. And then one of the last ones we did before that, we made a automatic motorized glue gun. That was pretty fun.
What do you do with an automatic motorized glue gun?
Well, first I'll preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of hot glue. Secondly, hot glue guns have turned to basically. They used to, I'm sorry, I swore. Well, whatever. They used to be good, but like every other tool, they've turned to garbage. They sit there and they drip, and all the glue drips out, and you have to pump the trigger and all this. So we actually made one that was motorized, very much like a 3D printer, but it extrudes glue instead of filament. So there's got an analog trigger on it, like an Xbox, so you can actually pull the trigger, and how far you pull the trigger is the rate of the glue extrusion.
I think you'll sell dozens of these, Ben.
Well, I'm definitely going to build another prototype. I like using it, so that's a good sign. You can write your name with it in cursive. That's fun.
There you go. That's awesome, I think. You have like 10 million views of the Ben Heck Show. That's a lot. People,
okay?
I think that's a lot, isn't it? That's like very successful, right?
I don't know. I never actually look at that data. They send me the sheets and I never read it. I know that sounds awful.
Well, that's huge. When I saw that, I was very impressed. I paused when I read that. I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's great.
Well, yeah, but it's the internet. I mean, you can film a cat falling over a basket and you get 1 billion views, which I guess would be 1 trillion views.
This is true.
No, wait, that would be 1 octillion views. Sorry.
So let me ask you this.
Got to have score roll over like AC/DC.
All right, so moving slightly towards pinball.
Mm-hmm.
You decided to build your own pinball machine at some point, correct? A, what got you to that, and B, why Bill Paxton is the theme?
Oh man, if I had a nickel for every time I've been asked that,
I know, I'm sure. Very original.
I could buy the ruby red edition of Wizard of Oz, or I could just have $9,000.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of stemmed from I wanted to build a Neo Geo machine because I'm a big Neo Geo fan, the arcade machine.
Yep.
And this is going to sound awful, but it was in 1995, and I had a 6-slot hardware for it. I had all the hardware collected. Oh God. Anyway, Hurricane Katrina hit, and I'm like, oh, plywood costs are going to go up. This is so bad. This is my thinking, though. It's like I better build this before plywood costs go up. I'm so terrible.
So you thought you were in Wisconsin, right?
Well, it's a global economy. Come on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I'm in Wisconsin.
I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. Plywood costs might rise. Better get on the game building.
Where are you at?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
whenever we do the green screen, sometimes I don't even know what's on the teleprompter, and I'm like, "You stay classy, San Diego." and if somebody comes up that I don't know, I say something else. When we do our show, yeah. So anyway, I built my Neo Geo, and I'm like, "Well, this is done. Now what?"
Now I can play out-of-date fighting games.
Oh yeah, Neo Geo's fun. So I'm like, well, obviously I have to build something more complicated. I know, I'll build a pinball machine.
Were you a pinball fan?
I liked pinball. Very, very, very casual fan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my friends and I would always go to a certain movie theater because they had the Lord of the Rings Stern game. So anyway, I was like, I know, I need a theme. And then I'm like, oh, Bill Paxton. The reason I picked that was because...
Oh, I know Bill Paxton. Great.
No, it was literally like 5 seconds after I decided to make a game. It's just because he's got so many great quotes in all his movies, and it's a really insane theme. I mean, most geeky people would have probably made a Bruce Campbell game, but honestly, Bill Paxton's been in far more movies, even though people don't really know who he is. He certainly is not Bill Pullman. I don't know why people get that confused. They're completely different. Right?
I totally get it. I mean, Bill Paxton was in big movies too, like huge. Yep. I mean,
yeah, he's in Titanic, True Lies, Aliens, Twister,
Apollo 13.
Oh yeah, Apollo 13, which is also a pinball.
Yeah. And then of course later on, Big Love.
Yeah, which I've heard is good. I've never seen it. But, I like to say, things should be obvious with pinball. So, Big Love, he's a Mormon with, 3 wives?
Three wives.
So, in the pinball machine, there's 3 old school locks. And you make the 3 locks, 3 wives, boom, multi-ball.
I was thinking drop targets myself.
The drop targets are for Aliens mode.
Oh, you're right. Aliens mode in Utah, yes.
Right, but I didn't know very much about pinball rules when I made the game. I know more now, which is to say I've just played more games and I can rip things off.
So did you only build one Bill Paxton pinball machine? Was there just the one?
Yep, I still have it too. It's actually right here in my home office room.
Does it get him a lot of play?
No, not really. It still works. The only thing that broke on it, I don't know how much you've looked at it, there was a diverter on the left ramp. That broke. I think I got to fix the motors. Strangely enough, the automatic auto-crushing hams can, I would have guessed that would have broke first, but it is fine.
Wow, fantastic. So, and I'm assuming you took that out to some shows when you built it? You have to show that off, right?
Yep, we've taken it to the Midwest Gaming Classic a couple times. And whenever we've gone to a show and we don't bring it for whatever reason, everyone's always like, where's Bill Paxton? So we'll definitely have to bring it back to MGC, probably this spring.
So Bill Paxton, it was like, 2005? 2006?
Whoa, no. I finished that in March of 2010.
Okay, but I think you started pinball early, like 05 maybe. Maybe that's where I got that.
I was working on it for a couple of years. I didn't really start working on it hardcore until 2009, though.
Gotcha.
But I was doing things like I was manually wiring up an LED display. I don't know why.
Yeah, I saw photos of that and kind of scratched my head and thought, you could probably have ordered the LED. I don't know. Just a thought.
Or I could have just bought a DMD. And
well, why make things simple?
It's pretty easy to drive. Well, that's what we use now. We just use a X-Pin DMD.
So you did that, and then what was the next step? Because when you look at Ben Heck and pinball, a couple things pop up the most besides Bill Paxton. Obviously, the game now, America's Most Haunted, which we're getting close to, but also sort of a co-project, at least it started out that way with John Papaduke, comes up all over the place, and people still refer to it as Ben Heck's Zombieland Adventure. How did we get there? What was the story?
Well, there was actually a game in between. We were building a game based off the TV show Lost.
Oh, that's right.
That's what we did after Bill Paxton, but it shot horribly. So we actually tore it apart and just got the parts out of it. It looked really nice, though.
I wonder if you had built a really fantastic Lost machine, if you would have run into the problems that I think the guys that have the Matrix machine. Hey, I have this great game that people really think's awesome, and I can't build it because it's a theme license.
Well, I actually had someone from Bad Robot email and ask about it, so I think
It was available.
They were more. I think they were more curious about it than anything. I think they wanted to know if it was still around for like a decorative piece, and I told them that we dismantled it. So,
gotcha. Now, at that point, when you're building Lost after Bill Paxton, in your head, are you even thinking, "Hey, I could sell a bunch of pinball machines"?
Well, what I was really thinking was it's fun to make these fan fiction games, like the Matrix game that's based off Johnny Mnemonic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But, eventually the amount of time it takes to do this, I have to build something that can be sold. And that's when we started thinking about doing an original theme, which was probably, I think it was 2011, late 2011 when we were kind of got started on that.
Now, when you say we, are you talking you in a room thinking about it, or are you involving other people in your design process and thought process from the very start?
Oh, no, other people were involved from the start. The America's Most Haunted game, the game formerly known as Ghost Squad or Prince, most of that was designed by myself and Andrew Edgerton, who is one of Spooky Chuck's cohorts on his podcast. And actually, my producer, Allison, helped me with some of the early stuff on Ghost Squad, like with the early foam core stuff. So, and then also Jason Jones, who is a friend of mine, has helped. Chuck's helped. And then whenever we go to shows, we definitely listen to people's advice. Like Steve Ritchie actually had some suggestions on the game, which we implemented. So we definitely listened to him.
So America's Most Haunted started out as Ghost Squad, and obviously I think the theme was from my standpoint, at least as just a pinball fan, a great move, just based on what's been coming out from Stern, what's on the horizon from Jersey Jack. I think the whole horror genre has been ignored for quite a while, and there's definitely a groundswell of people wanting to buy games based around zombies, ghosts, things of that, sort of
definitely.
nature.
Well,
yeah.
People definitely want zombies more than ghosts, but I don't really find zombies interesting personally. I watch Walking Dead, but that doesn't mean I want to make a pinball about it.
I'm just holding my tongue.
Okay.
So you started out with Ghost Squad, and the idea...
Well, I can tell you the backstory behind Ghost Squad.
Please do.
So we were doing our Ben Heck show, and then for our first, or maybe it was our second Halloween episode, I said, hey, Allison, why don't we make a Halloween episode be the Ben Heck crew goes on a ghost hunt, and we'll make it completely ridiculous, just like all the TV shows. And she was like, hell yeah. So we made an episode. It's on YouTube if you look it up. It's like 11 minutes long. And of course, the upper brass was completely confused by it. But that's fine. Not surprising. And so we made that episode. It was really fun because it was a narrative. And we thought, well, hey, maybe this would be a good theme for a pinball machine. And my reasoning at the time, to be completely honest, was that women like that kind of stuff, and women ultimately control what machines get bought. I read enough Pinside forums to realize this. So I thought maybe if it's a theme that women might enjoy too, that would kind of grease the wheels. I bet it certainly helped Wizard of Oz. And also, yes, it's an underutilized theme. I mean, it's really the first ghost theme since Haunted House, and the first horror macabre theme since Scared Stiff, I would say. Yeah. Although I wouldn't consider Scared Stiff a horror game.
Not really, no.
Well, our game isn't either. Our game is, complete, rubbish. It's not supposed to be scary. I don't think people understand that, though. It's really interesting to see how people react to themes.
Well, when you chose the theme and started the idea of a reality crew looking for ghosts, which is also sort of brilliant and kind of second level, I think most people would have jumped right to, we're going to do a ghost pinball machine. But your take was, no, we're going to do the cheesy reality show on some network that I don't even know, on cable, basically.
Right.
Looking for, it's kind of like Finding Bigfoot, if you've ever seen that show.
We've actually talked about that as a pinball theme. I know
Yeah.
Dennis Norman really wants to make a Bigfoot game.
Yeah, well, and that show's completely ridiculous.
Because he is Bigfoot.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And but the thing is, everyone has seen those shows.
Exactly. So,
or at least everyone knows about them.
So when you start this theme, are you creating the theme and the rules and the idea and the story first, or are you kind of putting together a layout and letting the rules come depending on the layout? What's the process there?
Oh, that's a good question. How I originally started the theme, I'm thinking back because I remember I wrote some of the first rules on my iPad on an airplane. The first thing that I did, well, first I've seen tons of those shows. When we were researching our Ghost episode, well, actually, no. When I was designing the Lost Playfield, I was watching marathon episodes of Ghost Hunters so I could write the Halloween episode of our show. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So those shows always, they have there's a lot of things that happen in every episode, and I started with the locations because it's always a hotel or a theater, hospital, some sort of Civil War location, or a bar. I think those are the 6 modes. And I'm like, okay, here are the 6 types of places they always find ghosts. Those are the 6 locations. Those are the 6 modes. From there, I had to extrapolate what each mode has a ghost boss, like a character, much like Medieval Madness, or exactly like Medieval Madness. So then we're like, okay, what ghost is in the hospital? Oh, it was a doctor who, did all these weird experiments. All right, Warfort. Warfort was interesting. Warfort actually started. It was based off a real life ghost story for what it's worth. There's this location, I think it's in Gettysburg, where a 15-year-old girl who was helping the wounded got hit with a bullet through a door, and it's kind of like this site's been preserved. So it was like this tragic Civil War story, and of course, allegedly she's a ghost. So I thought, oh, maybe there's like that little girl, and you have to communicate with her, and we were actually going to have the ball was going to get kicked out of the scoop. And then a magnet under the playfield was going to catch it, like Mr. Mode in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
And it was going to move the ball to like Ouija board messages, although it would have been called Spirit Board because Ouija is trademarked. Ouija is allegedly the first words that ever came out of a Ouija board. That's where the name comes from.
Oh, that's
Fun
where
fact.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So why did you have to kill that idea?
Because a little innocent girl ghost was not interesting. It's much more interesting for the ghost to be a benevolent jerk. So we changed it to a Southern fried Confederate Army general who was a lot more funnier. Same thing with we had a hotel, and we're like, oh, maybe it was a bellboy who was in love with this movie starlet visiting. Again, too lame. So we switched it to like H.H. Holmes' Murder Castle kind of guy. And then we had Brian Kelly, the pinball restore guy, do the voice. And Chuck was like, are you sure Brian will work for this? I'm like, trust me, Chuck. I know Brian will make a perfect psychopath ghost. and he did because he's like, oh, you have nice skin. Do you like lampshades? He kind of talks like that.
Yeah.
But then once you complete once you beat the ghost, once you do the things required to like defeat him, and then you're just whacking him for jackpots, then he turns into a wussy mama's boy. So that was kind of his joke.
So the ghost very much acts like sort of the castle in Medieval Madness, if you will, where each ghost is that ghost that you're fighting in that mode.
Yes, and the ghost changes colors to help you understand what mode he's in, which we actually didn't add until July, strangely enough. The ghost was not illuminated until July. Right, so you advance the modes by, like, left orbit advances prison, right orbit advances theater, the door advances the hospital, pop bumpers advance the war fort or the bar, and then what's the other one? Oh yeah, right ramp advances the hotel, the one with the elevator on it. And once you advance the mode, then you get a prompt. It's like shoot whatever to start. Then the ball usually gets captured. The ghost comes out, says blah blah blah, and then like hotel mode, you shoot the elevator and it captures the ball, and you've got to find the control box. So like 7 shots are blinking. And you've got to find the control box, which is randomly under 1. And then once you do it, then you get 2-ball multi-ball, and you get to beat up the ghost. And then in his mode, for instance, You can shoot the 3 targets in front of the ghost to build up your jackpot multiplier, like 1, 2, 3, and then you can shoot the right orbit to enable jackpot, and then you shoot the ghost to collect. So it depends on each ghost, but I try to change it up. Like some of them you have to, shoot to light the jackpot. Some of them you just hit the ghost as much as possible. But we also try to put some risk reward in. And there's a sub mode to most of the ghost battles as well. Like when you're fighting the army ghost, the 3 targets come up in front of the ghost. You hit each one of them, and that knocks down his 3 soldiers. Then he's revealed. Then you hit him 3 times to win. But you can also hit the door and break into his Confederate gold vault. You open the door. You hit it 3 times to open the door, and then as many times as you can shoot past the door in 30 seconds, you collect his gold.
And most of this, I'm assuming, plays out on the DMD as well.
Right. Everything's got to be on the DMD. It's got to be a voice call, and it's got to be shown on the board.
So let me ask you this, because clearly this game has a nice, deep, fleshed-out rule set with a lot of thought into it.
And it's going to ship with a complete rule set.
Yes, I was going to point that out. Your game will ship complete with a wizard mode already in the game when you get it on day one, correct?
Yeah, wizard mode. Wizard mode is missing some audio, but it does play. So it's in there already.
So knowing that, at least I think so, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm assuming that America's Most Haunted is sort of targeted at the collector and the home buyer more so than the route operator at this point. Would you say that's true?
Oh, in America, that's like 70% of the market for pinball now.
So knowing that,
yes.
Was there a lot of, I would say a lot of focus had to be on the rule set because you're trying to sell something that somebody's going to play maybe every night for 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah, the idea was to make the game pretty deep, as deep as we could. And yes, although the other thing we noticed, and that's what we noticed on Pinside, was the reason people are so anal about art is because, they're buying this $6,000 thing they're going to stick in their house. So they
instead of a bookcase.
Yeah, and they're really, hyper aware of how it looks or concerned about how it looks. That's a good point.
And that's certainly been, I think, probably, we look at the way Stern operates, and it's sort of like, we're not telling you anything until we tell you. And then we looked at the Jersey Jack sort of crowdsource funding model of, hey, we're going to show you every little bit in hopes that you'll send us your money so that we can build this thing. You're sort of taking this other approach of, we don't need your money yet. We're going to show you a lot, and we're going to listen to you a lot. Because I found that your reactions to stuff have been, at times, for me, as sort of the outside third party, I feel like you're almost, like, engaged to a point where it makes me almost uncomfortable how much some people and critics can get on you. And you take it all in stride, and you take it as constructive criticism more than I could. I certainly, if people were talking to me about my podcast like people have talked to you about your game, I'd have just turned Pinside off a long time ago.
Well, Pinside can be quite the place. Wow, that was a general comment, huh?
Well, hey, I love Pinside. A big chunk of my show is dedicated to the Pinside forum. But, man, you have been great at saying, oh, you guys don't like the art? We're going to change the art.
I will say I told Chuck, I'm like, as soon as we had the background art, I'm like, let's put this on Pinside and see what people think. Because we had it back in July. I kind of wish that we would have done that then because we could have failed early. Mm-hmm. Personally, I still believe that our art fits the theme, but it's not what people expected or wanted.
So the original art, for people who haven't been following it real closely and seen it, was sort of a photographic presentation of the characters looking for the ghosts in the game, correct?
Yes, because it's a reality TV show, therefore the characters needed to be real, and the ghosts are fake. That's why I thought everyone was going to bitch about the back glass being completely green. No one complained about that. It was the fact that we had photographs. And the reason people don't like that is because of, the 80s Gottlieb games.
Yeah.
But the thing is, those games also had terrible layout. Like a midget and a scientist, or like these weird women playing pool. I mean, it was a photograph, but it also was badly done. I mean, our composition, it's not changing. I mean, we're redoing the art, but the composition is not changing much at all because there's nothing wrong with it. Just people didn't like the fact that we used. Someone brought up a good point. They're like, it's a photo of someone who isn't famous that I don't know, so I don't care. And it sounds shallow, but it's, I can see why they would think that.
Sure. Now, where did all the art from the playfield come from? Did you do that yourself, or are you working with someone else on that?
That was all done in Photoshop by me because Photoshop is not the enemy. I always get a laugh when people say Photoshop like it's like, oh my God, Photoshop. It's Photoshop art, Photoshop. It's like, you do realize, that even a hand-drawn game like Metallica goes through Photoshop.
Yeah, it's cut and paste of movie clips into Photoshop with little work on them is the enemy.
I was talking with Greg Ferris at Expo, and I think we hadn't had the backlash at this point, but retroactively I can sympathize with him because he got a lot of flack for how the Star Trek playfield looked, and he's like, I did it that way because it fits the theme. That's what Steve Ritchie wanted. He wanted a bright playfield so people could see the ball. And, you do things that fit a theme to fit your vision, and people still might not like it. It's kind of disheartening, but in the end, you just have to suck it up and
I think the playfield art has been pretty overwhelmingly applauded. I think most people like it.
Nobody complained about the playfield art. Nope.
Yeah, and I think I'd love to know your thoughts on how the layout of the actual game came, but I think that alone, just the presentation, what the player's looking at, has been, to your credit, sort of already a huge success. And now that you've been so gracious as to give those early dissenters another idea for artwork, I think that's pretty great. I think you have a nice package going. But as far as the layout, where are the ramps, where the orbit, where did all that come from too?
The new backlash does look pretty good. We're probably going to, what is today? Why can't my brain work?
Today's Monday. November 25th.
Okay, yes. We're probably going to have the new backlash far enough along. We're going to show it on Pinside like Wednesday morning before everyone goes off to eat turkey and shoot things and it. So I hope it's like, okay, here's your hand-drawn, even though it's drawn with a Wacom tablet and Photoshop, but hand-drawn backglass.
Nice.
I mean, it is better. And we're like, well, you know what? If we're redoing this, let's reintroduce some color. And I wonder if I kind of did a secret trick with a color theme as a reference to another game. I wonder if anyone will notice. So yes.
Well, now they will. Or at least one of the folks listening may.
Okay, so you wanted to know.
I'd love to know how you laid the game out. Where'd you start? What was the idea? Did you look at other games and think, oh, I'd like to be in the vein of this, or did you just start from scratch? Because that seems to be, I think, an underappreciated talent that some of the great pinball designers have is you got to make the thing play good from the start.
Yeah, well, first of all, I might get in trouble for saying this, but a lot of designers kind of just remake their game over and over and over.
No, not possible. Scoops to the right, pop bumpers to the left. That would never happen.
Well, look at Medieval Madness. It's basically Attack from Mars. The castle is the saucer. The lock is even the same shot. It's slightly modified, but it's pretty much the same game. There's nothing wrong with that, but you just see that a lot. Dennis Nordman, though, his games are almost always different, as are Papaduk's.
Yep.
Or like Steve Ritchie. I mean, AC/DC is kind of like Terminator 2, and Star Trek is very similar to Next Generation, although I quite like Star Trek. I mean, yeah, maybe the code's not done, but I thought it played really good.
I like Star Trek a lot. I've talked mostly positive about that game here.
I would have picked one up, but I finally got a line in AFM, so I had to go AFM.
There you go.
Which is the new rumored remake, but I don't care. I'm still going to make so I'm going to have a $10,000, $8,000 AFM, I guess.
But you have it now, and isn't that worth something?
Well, I think what's going to happen is, there's going to be people who complain when there's a new board system that runs off ARM emulating a Motorola 68000, and they'll complain because it's made by, Chicago Coin, the same people who made Vacation America.
Yep.
So the originals always have value.
I agree. I think so,
I'm sure
too.
The new one will be perfectly fine. But I'm just saying people complain about everything, so there'll be something they'll complain about.
So are we going to play America's Most Haunted and step back eventually and think, oh, that's kind of like Gilligan's Island or something?
I'm trying to... Gosh, I don't think I've only ever played that game once.
You're not missing much. And your game doesn't look anything like it. I was just pulling something out of the sky.
That reminds me of when I was at Pinball's Arcade in Austin. It was an interesting place. If you ever get a chance to go there, you should, because they have all these like B and C games you never see at shows.
Yeah.
I'd never played Stern Indiana Jones, but they had one. That was actually the first game I played there. I'm like, I've never played this before.
Oh yeah, I've got that 10 minutes from my house at an arcade here.
Yeah, or like they had all like Starship Troopers, Last Action Hero, both of the Jurassic Parks. Twister though, ugh, God.
I've never played Twister. Never run into a Twister.
It's not very good.
No.
I'm not a Williams Bally elitist or anything, although those are the only games I have. Maybe I am. But yeah, it's Data East has got some good, like Guns N' Roses is really cool, and Tales from the Crypt.
I think there's some great games that weren't Bally Williams, but I think some of the worst games happen to not be Bally Williams, which is, I think, where that comes in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even really think of a Bally Williams game that from the 90s that maybe Popeye. I've never played it, though, but I know people give it a lot of crap.
Yeah, that's not a great one for sure. I ripped on Bad Cats a few episodes ago and got just hate mail. Like
really, Bad Cats is
killing me.
Really interesting. There's a guy I know. He's named Jesse the Pin Pimp, and he's got this basement with like the world's largest collection of Hams paraphernalia. It's insane. And
Hams?
Hams beer, yeah.
Oh, Hams beer. Okay, I'm sorry. I got you. Yeah.
I was really jealous because he has like two different lenticular Hams scrolling signs from the 50s. And anyway, he's notorious for like blowing through his collection. And we were there in 2012 for the Bulk Crawl, which is where you go around Minneapolis playing people's collections.
Yeah.
And then we were there in 2013. So in the course of 1 year, his entire collection of like 20 games had completely changed except for Bad Cats.
That was the one he hung on to, huh?
Still had Bad Cats.
There's dogs out there. I mean, I was talking about Police Force on the game the other day, and I was trying to defend it as best I could, and I really couldn't.
Is that the one where the cops look like zombies, or am I thinking of The Getaway?
I think that's the Police Force is the one on the back glass where the cops are all like animals.
Oh, right.
I think it was originally supposed to be like a Batman theme, maybe, and they changed it. They decided not to do the title or something like that. There were some dogs in there, for sure.
Jerry Ellsworth, the engineer / pinball woman, told me she had like 90 games on route, and Bad Cats was the top earner.
Unbelievable. I just don't connect with that game. It's a little repetitious. The call-outs drive me insane.
Isn't that a Python Angelo thing? Or
it is. Yeah, it is. No, you're right.
That guy is crazy. I could just listen to that guy all day. He's so weird.
Yeah. He's out there for sure. He's a character.
What was it? Someone gave me one of his pinball construction zone signs at Chicago Expo, and then I'm like, oh man, I heard Python is kind of ill. I should have him sign this because I might never see him again.
Is that kind of like the Katrina going to drive up the prices of plywood type of thought process?
Well, yeah. So anyway, I go over to his booth, and he's like, "Oh, you want me to sign this, huh? All right. What about this one?" And then he pulls up. He's got one where it's like people banging on a pinball machine, but like stick figures.
Oh yeah.
It's like Jodie Foster sign or something. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that one's really for me. He's like, "Oh, you are scared of your wife, I see. You are."
That's awesome.
And then at the pinball at the zoo, he was there as well because I think he lives in Michigan, and I was talking to him, and I think there was a Continental Cruise there, that Gottlieb cocktail game. He's like, well, if you look at the pinball machine, it's like a woman, and you push the buttons on the side, and it's kind of, and he's just insane, the stuff he says, but it's endlessly fascinating.
It all comes back to sex at some point with him.
Mm-hmm. He kind of talks like a Bond villain. He's like, I down your neck.
Well, he's from Transylvania.
Yeah, but he's just fascinating. Anyway, I completely off subject. So the ramps. Yeah. Well, the first thing we did on Ghost Squad was the jump, the balcony jump. We really wanted to have that. So you shoot the right orbit, and there's a ramp that goes sideways, and the ball can jump over a gap. And if it doesn't, it hits a switch, and it's like, ah!
You fail.
Yeah, and it was really tricky because we had to make it so that you had to do a pretty solid shot to make the jump to have enough inertia, but you could also fail. I mean, it would be actually pretty easy to make it work every time. So we wanted to make it kind of some skill. But then once the thing is, this is what John Popaduke taught me. He's like, if it shoots in plastic or shoots in foam core, it'll certainly shoot in metal and wood.
There you go.
And plastic. So we that was a big feature we had. We knew we wanted some sort of spooky door that would open and close, so we put that in pretty early on. And we would just do a whitewood, and all it would have is like an Italian bottom on it. And then we would just hot glue foam core everywhere to kind of make the shots. And that's actually how we started for like the first 3 or 4 months. We were like that. Then once we had it the way we liked it, we did another version that had a few things built into it and pop bumpers and whatnot.
So you talked about the Ouija board idea having to be pulled. Was there anything else along the way that you really you're thinking this is going to be in the game, this is going to be in the game, and then one day it just couldn't be in the game?
Well, we didn't have to pull the Ouija board idea. It was A, it had a hard time catching the ball out of the scoop. B, it would have sucked up an enormous amount of real estate on the playfield. Not really mechanical-wise, but just graphics-wise.
Sure.
So that's why we got rid of it. Oh, and there was the Ouija message in the middle was going to be die, and then it would release the ball right over straight down the middle.
Oh, that's actually pretty great.
Yeah, and then maybe it would disable tilt, for like 3 seconds and let you try to save it.
That's a great idea too. Look at all these ideas you got; they're awesome.
Next game.
Next game.
Oh, I should tell you all the ideas we have for Battlestar Galactica Pinball, which is the license I'd like to make if I had a license.
It's got to be available, right?
I can't imagine it'd be too much. I mean, if those guys in Michigan got Predator, I'm sure they paid a pretty penny for it.
Yeah, well, amortized over the course of 300 or 400 machines.
$250, I think.
$250. Is that it? Is that what it is? Yeah. So let me switch
subject.
It's all right.
Were you talking about missing or things we removed?
Yeah. Was there anything else that had to be taken off, or just you decided to pull off?
Dennis Nordman wanted to try a what's it called? Pepper's Ghost effect. In that Pepper's Ghost it's kind of like a ghost mixed with a teleprompter, and that as you defeated the ghosts, you would see them collected. There would be this window cut out in the playfield, kind of like where Highway Pinball has their LCD on their racing game.
Yeah.
They got crucified for their artwork too, by the way.
They did, and then they've revised it a few times also.
You know what? I look at my Attack from Mars, which is like a Holy Trinity game. The playfield art is shit.
Yeah, it's not as great as everyone wants to remember it.
No, the back class is good, but the playfield art is not good art.
A lot of gray on that playfield.
Yeah, and the woman looks like a man on the playfield. The is at the Capitol building. It's at 3/4 angle.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense, and there's all these. But it doesn't matter. But actually, we had this conspiracy theory, and we're like, you know what? Around 1995 is when Williams started making pretty much only original theme games, and their sales also nosedived to that same point. Coincidence?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Gary Stern is not a dummy. He's still in business, so maybe there's some merit to only making licensed games.
Well, I think it doesn't take too many misses to convince you of that. You only have to screw that up a few times and see all this effort and money kind of go and not work to start quickly thinking, oh, maybe, I'd have to look at a list of the ones that didn't do well, but maybe Striker Extreme isn't the best thing we could be putting our money into. We need Wheel of Fortune.
That's the only non-licensed string game I can think of, actually.
There was one other, and I'm totally blanking on it. It was one of the early ones right around that time, and he points to that all the time, but I want to scream at him and go, dude, it was a bad game, and a bad original theme at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Because South Park, there were some of those that were actually Stern, right? Because that was Stern or Sega.
Yeah, it's sort of in between right there.
Yeah. Then they had the Harley Davidson game, which was, a game that was a game. Yeah. I think Stern's got... I like Ripley's Believe It or Not. I should have bought one of those when they were cheap, but thanks to Pinball Arcade, they're not cheap anymore.
Yeah, well, and I think, too, that that's one of those games that people get at home, and it's fairly deep and complex, and I think it works in the home.
But you know why people didn't like it? Because they hated the back glass.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably
true.
Same
thing with the Shadow. Or Congo. It's like you can have a great pinball machine, but if people don't like the theme, it's game over. You could wait 20 years and people come around, but that's the thing that's unfortunate. It's like... I tell Chuck, I'm like, we gotta get this art fixed, and I had to kind of pressure the artist to get it done. because I had to hire someone else to do it, because it's like, we can't wait 20 years for the game to be discovered, because nobody gave a crap about Medieval Madness when it came out. I mean, if they did, pinball would still be around. I mean, people discovered those games or appreciated them 10 years later.
Exactly. That's very true. Something
else, though, when people say original themes, I don't think they realize, they say that, but then they realize that Medieval Madness is basically an unlicensed Monty Python and the Holy Grail, for instance. And
sure.
Yeah, the themes aren't as original as people think, but they're based off things they know. That's why.
Well, and you look at original themes can go wrong in a hurry. And I look at things like Party Zone, like that to me is like we're running out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And
Junkyard felt that way to me. I like Junkyard, but yeah, you could tell they didn't know what exactly they were doing with it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because actually when I told a couple people who emailed me when I announced I had another interview coming on that it was you, and I haven't announced it yet, but one person asked me, please to ask about Zombie Adventureland. So here I am asking Ben Heck, what was the story and where does Ben Heck's, formerly Ben Heck's, Zombie Adventureland stand?
So the idea was that John Papaduke wanted to make a new game, and he wanted to have the theme be something that would appeal to younger people, because, the pinball buying market is older, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So John was like, well, Ben's this, younger people like Ben, and they like zombies. So what if he was like, do you want to be the bad guy in this zombie game? And I'm like, sure. But I think what happened was a lot of people just wanted the zombie theme, and they didn't want me to be in it. So they kind of asked that they would make one without me, and then eventually he just kind of switched it over, which is perfectly fine. I have no reservations about that. So
you at no point were really involved in the design or build of that other than you were the character?
Yeah, it was basically I was in the game as a character. We certainly talked about a lot of designs early on, but not so much later. Like we had ideas for like the skill shot being a skee ball, because it takes place at this dilapidated amusement park. So the skill shot would go into like a, the skee ball with the 3 rings.
Yeah.
Which actually is kind of like Arabian Nights, but whatever.
Interesting. Very good. Okay, well, I just wanted to clear that up because I did have somebody actually ask about that. So where do we stand now? We've got Spooky Pinball LLC, as they call it, is building
Yep.
right now America's Most Haunted, and they're taking at least names for a sale list. Are we selling games? When do you expect games to ship? What's the time frame look like for the game right now?
I'm not sure how many. I think they've built 1 or 2 so far. Chuck's still getting his production figured out, and wiring harnesses are the great Satan.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, the ongoing joke is it's like I'm never going to wire my own game again. I hate wires. I think they should get rid of them. I'd love to use lasers to illuminate the bottom of a playfield.
Lasers.
Yeah, I bought an RGB laser to try and experiment. Use it like a raster scan. Like basically build a laser projector inside the cabinet and use that to light the insert so you don't need bulbs.
For the whole thing, really? Interesting.
Yeah, for the whole playfield. So anyway, yeah, he's building it now, and I think we're going to have like a initial list, like the first 10 or 20 you can get actually at a reduced price, and then after that it goes up to the normal price, which is $62.50.
$62.50. How did you come to that price? Was that based on like looking at what it cost to build the game and then what you'd like to make on the game, or were you trying to slot it somewhere out there in the retail field?
No, it's pretty much what you said. It's like people asked us about a price for a long time, and we held off as long as possible because we wanted to have a really good idea of what it was going to cost to make, because we didn't want to just pull a number out of our butt and then be wrong.
Sure.
So basically, we're like, okay, we're pretty sure it's going to cost X, and then that includes the labor to construct it. And then we basically said, okay, what's a reasonable amount of profit for, the design time that I did, and then Chuck for building it. So basically, what profit there is split between me and Chuck.
Do you see past this game? Do you have thoughts of like a second game, or are you more focused on just getting this thing built?
Well, there's nothing really left to build on Ghost Squad. All that's left is it needs an audit menu. I need to put that in yet, but the code will be complete when the game is. And I think he's probably going to start shipping in January.
How many do you want to sell?
I think I'd be happy with like 50. I don't need to sell a ton of them.
Okay, I think you're going to sell more than 50.
I don't know. People are being pretty bullish on it because of the art. I think we really shot ourselves in the foot with that.
I think once a game or two hits the market, as long as there's still the ability, which it sounds like there will be, to keep building past, like, it would be a shame to me to build, a few dozen and then say, oh, the sales aren't here, we're done. Because I think the first 50 will sell the next 50.
Like Big Bang Bar.
Well, hold on to a couple. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the whole plan, Ben. Maybe you've got 2 put away. No. I think you're going to sell more than that. I could see a few hundred of these games being sold because I do think the theme is going to play well. From what I've seen of the game, I can't wait to play one. I think it's going to play and be fun. The deep rule set is going to be appealing. And I think the fact that you're coming in with a full-fledged game with deep rules, with cool toys, and custom art well underneath the price of a Stern, limited edition or premium, I think that will equal a few hundred.
It's around the price of a premium. We definitely didn't want to exceed premium.
Yeah, it's right in that range.
Yeah. I wish it could be cheaper, but yeah.
Well, these things, I say this on the show all the time. Pinball machines are hard to build. There's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah, they are very, very difficult. They have more parts than a Ford Taurus. There's my Jerry Stern impression. I could do a really good Jersey Jack impression, too. I don't know if you want to hear it.
Oh, by all means, yes.
Okay. The Wizard of Oz, it's a really good theme. I think we're going to sell 5 million copies of it. It's pretty good, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'll be here all week, try the veal.
Now, you guys decided not to do any, quote, limited editions of America's Most Haunted?
Actually, I keep telling Chuck he should make one because people say they don't want it, which means they do. I know that sounds awful, but yeah.
I'm telling you, I think if you threw out a number, 50 of them, I think you'd sell them. I think you'd sell. I believe
people want a number. They really do.
They do. It's a collector's market.
Yeah. I hope people, give it a chance. That's the thing. Our uptime was really, really good at Expo. I think we had better uptime than any of the other homebrew games.
Where's the next place that you're going to take the game? Midwest Gaming Classic? Would that be the next spot?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have one at Midwest Gaming Classic, and Chuck, I believe, will have a zombie game done as well for Midwest Gaming Classic. I know he's got his second Whitewood. I haven't seen it, but although, what were we thinking? Oh, he's thinking about putting a few more toys on that game, basically, so it has a bit more parity with America's Most Haunted. And because I guess that's getting into too much detail.
Yeah, don't make Charlie unhappy. We don't want enemies over at Spooky Pinball here. I don't want to break. He's so tight-lipped about it. I almost feel guilty that we're talking about his game on my podcast.
Well, he's got a lot of interest in that game, but honestly, I think the Medieval Madness remake announcement tied up a lot of money. Because it's a known quantity.
I'm on the list for that. I was on it, then I was off of it, now I'm back on it.
I won't say which distributor, but I was quoted 4,500 shipped for a Star Trek Pro. And I really liked how Star Trek played. I thought it looked great. It played fast. It was fun.
Yep.
And I was good at it, too, which is always a bonus. And, yeah, I probably would have jumped on that as a birthday present, but there's another guy there who, upon hearing the MMR remake, said, oh, I better get out of my AFM before they announce that. And I was finally able to get it out from him. So I, too, bought an old existing game instead of trying something new.
Well, that's okay, I think.
It's my favorite game.
Well, that's what I've said. When Medieval Madness was announced, I was on, then I was off, and my girlfriend forced me back on. She wants it because she loves it.
That's a good girlfriend to have, then.
She's great. She's great. Now, she'll be jealous because her favorite game is Attack from Mars. So she's hoping they remake that next. She will gladly try and sell my Twilight Zone so that we can get an Attack from Mars.
I'm still going to pimp out mine, though. I got a new playfield for it, and I'm waiting for the color DMDs to get back in stock.
There you go.
That'll be nice. I love that game. They should make another one. They should make Revengeance from Mars.
Oh, I think so too. Mars comes back one more time.
We're back.
Totally. They'd sell 5,000 games.
That would be awesome. I don't like Revenge from Mars though. It's you spend all your time looking at the screen. It doesn't seem like you play much pinball in it.
I've been promising. I've had more requests to talk about Pinball 2000 than maybe anything since I started this show.
Talk about both games.
Yeah, and I've not ever really connected with those games very deeply. It's always... I have a friend who loves Revenge from Mars, and we were at the Silver Ball Museum in Asbury Park together, and he just wanted to keep playing. Come on, two-player, and I'm like, all right. And I found myself just kind of like, oh, shucks, I lost my ball, and just letting him. It doesn't feel like really pinball to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's affordable, because they actually made quite a few of those. They made almost twice as many as they did as Attack from Mars.
I had a guy offer me one. I bought a Judge Dredd a few months ago, and the guy tried to sell me a Revenge from Mars that looked pristine for, I think he wanted $2,200 for it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd had any extra cash that day, I would have done it to flip it probably. But I just couldn't do both games in one day, plus I didn't have any way to take both games. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping to flip my Theater of Magic, because I keep looking at it and I'm like, wow, that's a really nice new computer sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm redoing the trunk because I have one of those resin cast trunks that last like 3 months. So I'm just going to build one out of wood and brass and leather and get it over with.
Be done with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had to fix the Tiger Saw mod too, because whoever put that in was drunk.
So are you going to sell mods to America's Most Haunted yourself? I mean, you should, right? There should be like a line of mods come out shortly after.
Yeah, I guess I really don't have any interest in that. I mean, there are some other games we've talked about making if you want to cover that. I mean, there's definitely things I would do differently if I was to remake America's Most Haunted. I would probably put more speed into the right loop. I would maybe change the mechanism with the door, like give the door a little bit more to do. What else would I change?
Pretty
proud of the ghost loop. That actually works really good.
It looks awesome. The whole ghost mechanic thing looks absolutely amazing. I say we don't talk about what you would change. I say we don't do that. Let's sell some games.
Well, I could say one thing. The ghost that changed many times. Originally, what was it? It was an EMF charge pump. So it was basically going to rip off the lamp from Tales of Arabian Nights or Avengers. And then it was that, and then it was a bookcase where you'd push books in like Scooby-Doo, and it would rotate to capture the ball. But that we made a mock-up of that. It sucked. And then, again, Papa Duke's like, most people are right-handed. They push the right flipper button, which means the ball goes to the upper left.
Yep.
He's like, whatever you put there is prime real estate. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a ghost there to represent the character, a magnet to catch the ball, a loop for really high-speed returns if the magnet's not on, and then a three-bank target to represent all sorts of different things. So like in some modes, you have to hit specific targets. Some modes, you have to clear them. Some modes, you just have to hit any of them 3 times. And it also deliberately catches the ball behind it, basically like Dirty Pool, but it uses it as a ball lock. And there's an opto that can detect if the ball's in the magnet. So in theory, we could even capture the ball and knock it away a la BSD, although there's no mode that does that.
Sure.
And the ball search, well, what is it? Okay, whenever the targets go up, it does a function call where it briefly triggers the magnet. And then if a ball is pulled into the magnet's path and it sees it, it detects basically a dirty pool or a ball trap. And if you manage that, there's a call out that says dirty pool.
Nice.
So, yes.
That's deep. I think that's going to be one of the big selling points for you, is that it is going to be deep for the home use audience. There's going to be lots of stuff that's going to pop up. One thing that I was reading about...
There's 6 modes. There's 6 modes. In each mode, you can shoot shots to tour the location. You have to beat the ghost. Every ghost battle is different. There's sub-modes like stealing the gold, euthanizing the ghost doctor's victims. That's an insane mode we have. And then on top of that, there's Ghost Photo Hunt, which is a hurry-up mode. There's Ghost Minions you can battle. There's Ghost Minion Multi-Ball. What else do we have? Yeah, so there's quite a bit of crap in the game.
So let me ask you about something, because I was reading this on Pinside.
Right.
People were asking you about what people were commenting on. Okay, so some of the call-outs are PG-13 pushing R, a lot of innuendo. Mm-hmm. What's your take? Is there plans for a family mode? Or are you just going to roll with it as is? What are you thinking there?
There's no family mode. Nothing in our game is anything worse than what's in Scared Stiff. I don't know does that have a family mode?
I think it has a tame mode on it, yes. Yeah.
See, here's the thing. Like, what if you hear a line like "She died as she lived" going down RE the ghost horror, who we don't call a ghost horror? that's funny. Your kids aren't going to get that. So I think people just need to grow up and realize that a $6,000 machine is bought by adults, and it should have. Look at Predator. Nobody complains about that. Actually, a better way to put it is, every show I've ever taken Bill Paxton Pinball to, Bill Paxton Pinball is far more vulgar than. I mean, it's quite profane. He's like, oh, Eddie Money doesn't put up with. I've seen parents standing there with their 10-year-old kids playing that game, profanities coming out of it left and right, and no one's ever said boo.
Well, I'm okay with that. I think that's all right as long as people kind of know it ahead of time. There's no family mode, and that's how we're going to roll with it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when we were thinking of dialogue for it, I just wanted to make something that was. Well, the thing is, pinball has not been funny in a long, long time. It's so dour, and I guess people want more of it because they want Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, burn 10-year-old boys to a crisp mode.
Yeah, man.
Fun.
Yes.
No. Or find your wife's corpse before a zombie eats it. Yay. So I don't know. I just wanted to make something that was funny. And then, we see the comments like, oh, this game isn't as funny as they think it is. And it's like, whatever. I mean, I think it's funny. If people don't think it's funny, they don't have to think it's funny, but yeah,
well, there you go.
They're like, why do you have so much dialogue in it? And it's like, well, here's why: because we have to set up the jokes for the jokes to make sense. We can't just have Peter Griffin say, "Oh, it's like Bishop from Aliens," because what that is. We have to set up, the ghost is a cannibal, so that when he wants to eat the hippie vegan, the jokes make sense. So it's called setting up characters. Again, if you're just riffing off Monty Python and the Holy Grail, everyone knows, the themes from that, so you don't have to set it up. I guess I'm kind of on a soapbox here, but...
It's okay. That's why we're here.
But yeah, so I could talk about some other game ideas we've discussed, some of which may shock you.
Yeah, really, shock me, please, by all means, Ben. Shock me with your theme ideas here. Let's do it.
Well, there's 3 big ones we always talk about. First is Battlestar Galactica, based off the new show, which would be really cool, we think. Lots of loops for space battles. Jump in the ship, every episode of that show, they jump the ship. So you do a mode, and then you shoot a shot, and it jumps the ship, and the whole game shuts off when it goes to light speed and flickers back on. And balls would get sucked out of airlocks. I think it would be really cool, although it wouldn't have any humor to it whatsoever.
Yeah, that one doesn't lend itself to it, does it?
No. The other one we've talked about quite a bit is doing a 1890 steampunk Tesla versus Edison kind of game where, you're Tesla or Edison and you fight for supremacy of the currents. And that was I know Papaduke really wants to make that game because he's a big fan of Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, I could see his artwork kind of headed right towards that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be right up his alley. And, I can see that with like a lot of brass armor, although that would be very expensive.
Yeah.
I've looked into it. It's quite expensive. Although nowadays, who cares? Because, it's like, our motherboard is going to cost $200. Who cares? It's pinball. It's expensive. The other theme we've talked about a lot, and this is the one that people think is insane, but we've actually talked about doing an Old Testament Bible Adventures game. Like a
Bible Adventures, you said.
Yep. Basically like Cecil B. DeMille, Wrath of God kind of stuff. And whenever we tell it to people, they're like, are you kidding? And then we're like, think about it. Everything in the Bible is numbered, timed, prophecy, which is also why Battlestar Galactica, I think, would be a good theme. And, we were going to try to make the playfield split like the Red Sea after you advance the 10 Plagues of Egypt. We had thought about it quite a bit, and a lot of it makes sense. I think people would hate the theme, so we probably won't make it, but that's when if I had unlimited time and money to make any theme I wanted and didn't have to sell, I would do that just to see people's reactions. It's the same thing with Angry Birds. Angry Birds is a great theme for pinball, but people don't like the theme, so they don't want to play it, even though it makes sense for pinball.
You think Angry Birds makes sense for pinball, huh?
I do. First of all, it's kid-friendly, kid-approved, which makes it wife-approved, which means cha-ching. You have targets. You can make these simple mechanical targets of like pigs falling over, just kind of rip off the mech from Medieval Madness. It would be very colorful. Everyone's heard of it. It could have app integration. I'm not sure which one of their games is going to use their new system, but one of them will. It'll probably be Fast and the Furious.
If they make Fast and the Furious. All speculation here on Coast to Coast Pinball.
Right. Yes.
Right. Yes. Speculation.
Superman is also, or I'm sorry, Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Also speculated. Although that would make more sense for 2015 when the next movie comes out.
The next movie, exactly. It'll be interesting.
No, I think Angry Birds would be a great theme. Although it's going to be so funny to see all these 50-year-old pinball site people like blow a gasket,
lose their mind if that were to actually happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It'll just be hilarious.
I think that theme would do well in movie theaters and locations like that, which we kind of need a little bit of that in the pinball world again. We need pinball machines in pizza parlors and on locations where kids might want to, ask their parents to put money in.
Most of the games I see on locations around here, it's pretty rare, but I think a theater has an Avengers. Everything else is like old stuff, like I know there's like a Creature from a Black Lagoon, Doctor Who, Addams Family has been on location around here. So yeah, I don't see a lot of new Sterns on location. We used to go to the Quaker Steak, not Buffalo Wild Wings, Quaker Steak in Lube, whatever that thing is called.
Yep.
They would always have
chicken wing place.
Yeah, they would always have the newest Sterns, but I don't live on that side of town anymore. I don't know. Think about it. Yeah, you could have like 5 different colored balls. The opto, basically if you put an RGB opto in and where the red opto is on the ball trough, you could detect the color, and the ball could have special abilities. I think it would make a great pinball theme. That doesn't mean people would want to buy it necessarily. And if it's made, it's going to get a lot of flack. But I think it makes sense. It makes more sense than Walking Dead. Let me think of another mode for Walking Dead. Oh, shoot left orbit to collect knife to give your mom a C-section mode.
I have mentioned that on this show that it's a brutal show with not a lot of levity.
By not a lot of levity, you mean none, right?
Yeah, pretty much none, yes. I think some of the funniest parts on that show are the way they kill some of the zombies. And I think that's the approach you would almost have to take, is a more comic approach to killing lots of zombies.
Right. Or if maybe there's a mode where you get to kill his wife, Lori, because I just hated her. I cheered when she died. Spoiler warning.
Yeah, I don't like the kid. That's the one who I don't like. I don't know what I have against that kid, but he just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, he's kind of turned into like a psycho.
I think so. Maybe, and I have not read the graphic novels. Not a comic book, a graphic novel. So I don't know where that goes, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he flips out at some point.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. I don't understand why. Why would they stay in the prison? That town was perfectly well defended. Why not move in there after they got rid of, evil Liam Neeson governor man?
Oh, spoiler alert, he's back.
I know. I've only seen season 3. I haven't seen the new season.
Well, Ben, we got to wrap this up, but man, I really appreciate you coming on, and I hope we can do it again. Maybe we'll do it like around the Midwest Gaming Classic, maybe right after, because I'm planning on being there, so hopefully I'll get to meet you in person there.
Oh, it's actually one of the best pinball shows. It's really grown over the years.
I was really bummed that it and the Denver show, the Rocky Mountain show, are on the same weekend this year. And, me being a West Coast kid, generally, I was really thinking, the Denver show's a no-brainer for Teresa and I. But I also was thinking, Midwest Gaming Classic, and then when they were popping up on the same dates, I don't know what to do, but I'm kind of leaning towards Midwest Gaming Classic just because a lot of people I'd like to talk to and speak with and do podcasts with are going to be there. So,
well, right, exactly. Pretty much all of the pinball people go to that one now, so.
Yeah, and I may do Friday in Denver and fly out Friday night to Wisconsin. And
did you ever go up to California Extreme?
I didn't go this year, and I'm going to go this year or next year, that is. So that's on the calendar. We're going to do a lot of like broadcasting from type stuff in the next 12 months. That's the plan for Coast to Coast Pinball. So that and selling T-shirts. We're selling lots of T-shirts. My life my life this week has been mailing T-shirts around the world. So.
Yeah, it was really I don't want to say scary, but yeah, at Midwest Gaming Classic, I walked in and Steve Ritchie was playing our game, and I'm like, oh, crap.
That's awesome, though, right? That's great.
I was a little nervous, and he's like, well, you should change this target and make sure this is metal. And his suggestions were pretty minor. So
Yeah,
we definitely listened to it because he's Steve F. and Richie.
Exactly. Man, I really appreciate it. We're going to wrap this up. And
Sounds good.
If you guys want more info on Ben Heck's game, where should we go to look for that?
You can go to spookypinball.com. You can also check out my website, which is benheck.com. And I also have a YouTube channel if you search for Ben Heck. And I try to put little update videos on my YouTube channel all the time.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff. I watched the entire little promo video that you and Charlie and guys put together for America's Most Haunted. Very funny, very good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Chuck did that one. I wasn't involved with that.
That's good stuff. Well, I liked it. It gets better as it goes, I think, myself personally.
It was definitely very cheesy. Of course, so were all the promo videos of the 90s.
I think that's okay. It does. It reminds me of the old Williams promo videos for sure. I owned a Party Zone for a while, so I would show people the Party Zone video, and it was frightening on some levels. So
yeah, the Black Rose one was great. Did you see our video where we did an MST3K riff of those videos?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's you should find it. It's on my web. It's on my. YouTube.
I will. I'm writing a note about that right now. Good.
You'll appreciate if you like those videos. You'll appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, Ben, I appreciate it again. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
No problem. Talk to you later.
Well, there you have it. I believe this is the longest episode ever of Coast to Coast Pinball. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Ben Heckendorn. Check out his websites. Check out the Pinside forums for updates. Check out America's Most Haunted. Yeah, we'll see you on the next episode. Episode 47 will be later this week. Maybe we'll do a special Thanksgiving episode. Although, don't hold your breath. We're going to go play some pinball, and we're going to talk about it more than likely. Maybe there'll be some news. You never know. Could be all sorts of things going on. If you want to email me, you can always email me at coasttocoastpinball@gmail.com. www.coasttocoastpinball is the website. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, yada, 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 yada. Still have some shirts available. Limited sizing. We were sold out of larges. So anyway, thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Super jackpot!
You knew right where to put your balls.